Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. We're here today with part 2 of our Cabral HouseCalls. Looking forward to reading over our community's questions and, of course, trying my best to provide you with that alternative advice, that second opinion, that place to look that you may have overlooked right now on your way to losing the weight, to getting well, to working on those anti-aging based strategies. So that's what we do every Saturday and Sunday here. We answer about a dozen questions over the weekend. I think we got to 7 questions or so yesterday. Hopefully you tuned in to yesterday's show. Everything from mold protocols to mold and type 2 diabetes, to baruca nuts. We talked about high CRP. We talked about ethanol in toothpaste, what to use for digestive support. So a lot of topics covered. That was episode 1835. You can just head on over to stephencabral.com/podcasts, and you'll find 1835 there, or just directly to each podcast page, which is just my name, stephencabral.com/1835. Today is episode 1836, so you can read along with the questions right over there if you'd like. First question today is coming in from Lauren. Lauren says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I've been following a plant-based pescatarian diet. I also love eating vegan meals of non-GMO, organic tofu and legumes. I recently did your Big 5 labs, and I found food sensitivities came back that I'm sensitive to soy and many beans. I'm basically left with black beans and pinto beans. I'm currently following the CBO protocol. I'm 1 month in and feeling great. I will try reintroducing those foods in the coming weeks. I've been eating way more fish now. My question is it safe to eat fish every day for lunch and dinner? I only eat wild-caught and low-mercury fish, sockeye salmon, cod, haddock, shrimp, mussels, mackerel. I know fish has many health benefits, plus it's delicious. I also feel my best following a plant-based pescatarian diet, but our oceans are still very polluted, so I wonder if it's possible to eat too much fish in a week. I would love your thoughts. Thank you." Lauren, this is a great question, and I love that you are rolling with the punches, as they say, right? So you did your food sensitivity test, you used to eat a lot more beans, and now you're sensitive, you see the sensitivity to them. So what do? You don't just give up. You say, okay, what can I do? I mean, definitely, like, you're following the advice I gave on last Monday's podcast. If you haven't checked that out, I would definitely check that out. That was episode 1830, because it's about doing what you can with what you have, and you're doing a great job. So I have no problem with people eating fish every single day, but they need to follow what Lauren's doing right now. Low mercury, sustainable fish, and the good high omega-3s. So, I mean, Lauren, you're doing a great job. There's nothing wrong with sustaining on a fish-based diet. There really isn't. You can certainly substitute some of that if you'd like for hemp hearts for one meal. 15 grams of protein just in 3 tablespoons. I like to do that a lot at lunch. You've got your black beans. You can do black bean soup, black beans, of course. You've got your pinto beans. You can make a black bean chili. So there's a lot that you can do. I mean, you're doing fantastic. You just want to stay away from the bigger fish that have a lot more mercury as well, like the swordfish and the tuna. So Lauren, keep up the great work. Nothing like you follow the CBO protocol. Honestly, you're doing great. I don't want to confuse you. So just keep on doing what you're doing. All right, Mike's up next. And by the way, for anybody who doesn't know what the CBO protocol is, that is like our worldwide protocol that people and practitioners use to help repair their digestion. And you can find that at equa.life. You can just type in CBO. All right, Mike's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Is it possible to have high levels of mold toxicity for 3 years and just now have symptoms? It's been 3 years since I left the moldy house. I took the mycotoxin test, was high on globicin A at 107 when it should be under 10. As recommended, I started developing symptoms on September 18th. Oh, I see what you're saying. It's not recommended that you have the symptoms. It's just recommended by the lab. Got it. You started developing symptoms on September 8th and been getting worse. Okay. So let's give a little breakdown. So you don't have to have symptoms at any point in your life until that rain barrel overflows. All right. Heavy metals, stress, low omega-3s, fill up that rain barrel. And then when you get to the top of your rain barrel, then you feel symptoms. To me, Mike, what you could be dealing with are multiple factors here for dis-ease in your body, right? Mold is one. I think so if you read my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, you know that it's genetics, only one part, plus the environment, okay, what's been filling up your rain barrel, and then a triggering event. Again, this could possibly just be a gradual overfilling of your rain barrel, no doubt about it. I feel like there was a triggering event for you when you moved, right? So you went somewhere, did something, higher levels of stress, new diet, new exercise program, breakup in a relationship, heavy metal toxicity, something to go along with this potentially, okay? Now, again, either way, what do? Well, we need to do a functional medicine 21-day detox, most likely. We need to follow the mold protocol, but you might need to do the CBO protocol first. You might need to do a heavy metal detox. I can't tell you what it is until we run that Big 5 lab. So I would run the Big 5 just as Lauren has done before you. So Mike, that's where I would start, and I hope that that's helpful. Apologize about my scratchy throat. This is the last podcast of the weekend, and I've been talking quite a bit today. To say the least, that would be an understatement, but luckily I love what I do, so as long as my voice sounds okay to you, I'm going to keep on going. All right, Karen's up next. Hello, doctor, and thank you for being a most trusted and consistent resource in time when fads and contradiction are so prevalent and so hard to decipher. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. If there's one thing that I pride myself on, it's that whatever noise is going on in the industry, whatever's most popular today, doesn't mean that I'm going to follow along just to try to make money or sell a product, a keto product, or this product or that product. And I'm not saying that those products are bad. I'm just saying that they're following a trend, and I will never follow a trend unless that trend is based in science, based in Ayurveda as well, and it stood the test of time, right? I mean, like, that really matters as well. Okay, so let's pull back from the rant and let's get back to Karen's questions. Okay, I'm on Karen's question, right? Yes, okay. So my question is related to combining whey protein powder with collagen powder. I recently heard a popular health podcaster say that these two proteins should not be combined, but he didn't take the time to explain his viewpoint. After a hard workout, I like to combine these two protein sources. Is there some sort of problem with the uptake of amino acids when these two protein sources are combined, or is there something else I am misunderstanding? Thanks so much. Karen, it's a great question. Here's why we can nitpick these things and talk about certain amino acids being uptaken and the use of collagen, type 1, type 2, type 3, different types within that, and then the amino acid strands. But honestly, you don't need to worry about that. You really don't. I always like to take it back to nature. Okay, so let's say you're doing an animal-based protein, and then you're doing collagen with it. It would be the equivalent to eating the skin of, like, chicken, along with, or the cartilage, the whole animal, along with the chicken, like in a stew. So let's say you're eating chicken soup. You've got chicken feet in there, which creates the gelatin, the collagen. You've got chicken, like pieces of meat in there. You've got your celery, you've got your onions, you've got your carrots, whatever it is that you like to do. You'd be getting that all at the same time. So Karen, I want to make this simple. You don't need to worry about it. You really don't, unless it's causing you some detrimental harm in some way. Honestly, I would not be overly concerned about that. Okay. Next up, we have Heather. Heather says, Dear Dr. Cabral, I am new to your program in functional medicine, and I have embraced it wholeheartedly. Happy to hear that, Heather. Glad you are part of now the community. I'm 44 years old and will be having a double hip replacement. I have changed my diet and detoxed, used acupuncture, chiropractic care, physical therapy, and medication. However, none of these have helped, and I am barely able to walk and need surgery to function. My question is, what are the possible causes for needing the surgery so young? And is there a likelihood that I would need replacement surgery for other areas like my knees? Yeah, it's a great question. So, I mean, that's why I don't want to throw genetics out completely, okay? Genetics matter. Some things are, people are predisposed to these things, okay? They are. However, most likely, Heather, it could have been mitigated maybe another 10 years, 20 years even. You could have delayed this or put off this surgery if you had known about not taking in a lot of polyunsaturated fatty acids, omega-6 version, those inflammatory ones, maybe doing certain types of exercise, high impact. Like, I don't know you, so I don't really know. It also matters the shape of a woman's body or a man's body as well. So the more severe is not the right word, but it's actually the clinical, the more severe the angle of the hip to the knee joint, the more hip and or knee issues there can be. So really what we're talking about is the top of your hip. It looks like my fist, okay? And then the rest of my arm, pretend that's your femur bone, right? So that's underneath your quadricep and your thigh. There's only one bone, it's the femur. And the femur has a head on both sides. Okay, so the top of the femur fits into a perfect socket. Well, the socket is actually built differently, slightly based on your body. And then when I talked about the angle, well, here's the socket, let's say, and the angle, especially more in a woman's body, where the hips might be a little wider than the knees, what happens is there's a little bit more play here. I shouldn't even see play, but there's a little bit more of an angle where the top of the femur actually pushes in to the housing of the hip, and it's not a glenohumeral joint. I'm trying to think of the actual name there of the hip joint itself. But what happens is over time, you can actually wear away the anticular cartilage, which covers the top of that femur, and you begin to get degeneration of the bone. So the nice thing is this, that the hip surgery is in and out operation, way better than it was even 20 years ago when I was helping people rehab that in the fitness industry. So much better now. I can tell you that. Less painful than knee surgery, easier rehab than knee surgery, in my opinion, from what I've seen and most of the PTs that I work with as well. So again, work with a great doctor. You're in good hands, no doubt about it. Just make sure you do your rehab and your movement right after surgery. Follow your PT's suggestions. Definitely want to recommend that. And then in terms of your knees, well, I don't know anything about your knees right now. There's nothing to say that your knees will follow the same path. It just could be genetic predisposition in those the hip bones, hip joints as well. Plus, now you're a part of the community. Like, you know about an anti-inflammatory nutrition plan. You know about using your daily foundation protocol level 2 or level 3. You know about all these great things, okay? So I think you'll do much, much better. All right, let's see. We have answered already 4 questions. Happy to see that. We've got Anonymous up next. Anonymous says, let me start off with a big thanks to you, Dr. Cabral, and everyone working with you. What you all have created is such a gift to anyone and everyone who is interested in taking charge of their health. Thank you, Anonymous, and I appreciate that, especially since my team does not get a lot of the credit. They're working behind the scenes all the time, and they're absolutely amazing. You know, this doesn't happen with me. I read the questions, I answer questions, I teach, I film video, I film courses for IHP, for the Health Results Accelerators, but I have a team that implements all of these things. And so I just want to give a shout out to my team as well, because I appreciate them and wouldn't be here without them. Okay, so your question, Anonymous, is, I'm a 48-year-old woman who exercises regularly, eats healthfully, and works hard to manage my health. I do not have any medical problems, but nearly every evening, I suffer from several hours with excessive gas. I recently developed what I believe is lactose intolerance, and though the gas has decreased since giving up dairy, it is still a nightly problem. Ironically, the rare evenings when I don't experience this problem are the days when I have not eaten particularly healthy. The only thing I can equate this to is fiber intake. Most days I consume quite a bit of fiber as part of a healthy eating plan. When I do not eat healthily, I consume very little fiber, and this seems to result in less gas. I don't really want to decrease my fiber consumption, as I feel like it is a beneficial prebiotic for healthy bacteria. Am I mistaken? And what can I do to decrease the gas? Thank you so much for helping me with that, with what feels like a very embarrassing problem. Anonymous, I'm happy you wrote in. Don't feel like it's an embarrassing problem. This happens to so many people. I've been talking with people for over 2 decades about their health and digestive issues. And the truth is this, and you're on the money, like no doubt about it. You know what's going on. But let me explain why. So it's not just the fiber. Fiber's part of it, okay? Fiber's part of it. But we also have fructans and other things that can actually be quite beneficial that are being broken down by your gut bacteria and potentially yeast as well that are then fermenting. And as they ferment, well, what happens when you ferment something? Let's say you put cabbage in your little starter mix in a jar and you unscrew the jar of your fermented vegetables. It pops, right? It pop. And what happens? Well, that's all the gas that's being released. Well, there was no gas that was put in there, but it fermented, creates gas. Gas, well, it's trapped in your intestines. What does it do? It's got to go up or it's got to go down. So you end up with flatulence or gas. Okay, but what does that mean? Well, it doesn't always mean that it's a bad thing. A little bit of gas is okay, but a lot of gas, not so much, especially if it smells. If it smells, okay, we've got some methane being created. Oftentimes that is from certain short-chain fatty acids and bacterial overgrowth. So what do we do though? Well, the answer is not to eat processed food, but a lot of people go towards processed food because they say, hey, I can't digest all the veggies. Well, here's the issue. Well, there's two. So one is you might just need to rebalance your gut. But I want to talk about that in just 1 second because by doing the processed food, there could even be some fiber in there. But what's happening is you're eating food that I always talk about would turn to dust if you were to just go like this. So potato chips, crackers, pastas, those types of things, like you can just kind of grind them up in your hand and they'll fall apart. You can't really do that with broccoli and cauliflower and carrots and all these great things. So I hope, because this will reinforce it. Definitely make sure you checked out episode 1831 this week because you're on the right track. So now we know that you don't want to eat processed food, but we know why it's easy to break down and not cause gas because it's already pre-broken down because it's been processed from the natural thing. So here's what we want to do. I personally, if I were you, I would want to know why. So I would run the Candida Metabolic and Vitamins Lab. And if you can run one more, no doubt about it, I would run the Bacteria and Parasite Stool Lab. You'll look at bacteria, you'll look at your Candida, you'll be able to have your answer. And then our team will be able to guide you as to then if you should be doing the CBO protocol with citricidal drops, without citricidal drops, and how to really repair the gut for life. You're only 48. So let's say you've lived half your life. I'm not being optimistic or not. It's 96 years old. Who says that anyone can't live into their 90s now? I think we can. I really think we can. So here's the thing. You've got the next half of your life or more, could be a centennial, that you'll have this. So again, find out now, repair, and still be able to enjoy all those foods. The last thing I want to add is this, that sometimes it is slow peristaltic movement with the gut, meaning like you can eat lots of fiber at lunch and lots of veggies, but then what happens is it kind of backs up your system because you didn't digest them well enough. And by the time you get to dinner, well, now it's even more. Here's what you want to do. Take 2 to 3 digestive enzymes, daily digestive enzymes with each meal. It's a very special formula that I put in there with bromelain, papain for your nice proteolytic enzymes in there. I put in xylanase, which not a lot of companies use, and that helps to break down vegetable as well. Cellulase, which breaks down cellulose. So 2 to 3 daily digestive enzymes with each meal at the start of the meal if possible. If not, mid-meal is okay. And I think you'll find a huge benefit as well. And then again, the gluten and dairy support, believe it or not, also help with beans. All right, one more question. What are your thoughts on the virus vaccine? I'm a healthcare worker and I'm apprehensive to get the vaccine. My main concern is about the mRNA attaching or replicating any cancer cells that could be in the body. Could mRNA cause abnormal cells to reproduce, or could this technology actually help in our fight against cancer? So Stacy, it's a great question. I get this question, I don't know, 12 times a day, 15 times a day, no less than 10, that's for sure. Probably no more than 20, but at least 12 to 15. So here's the thing. I can't answer your questions on vaccines. I would love to answer your questions on vaccines. I can't answer your questions on vaccines. Only a conventional medicine medical doctor is allowed to talk about it. That's it. Like literally, that is it. Because that would be then giving medical advice. Here's what I always say about vaccines. 1, read all of the pros of this particular vaccine. Read all of the pros about it. What could it do? 2nd, read all of the pros as to does it even matter for you? So if you're a healthy 35-year-old and your chances of mortality or anything like that are super low, does it make sense for you now or 20 years from now? Maybe the answer is yes. I don't know. Again, I'm not answering that for you. And also you want to look at how many times do I need to take this in order to be effective? Because this vaccine, we don't know. It's at least 2 to 3. The older you are, the more you're going to need to get. And you need to space them out 30 days apart for them to be essentially effective. So now we know someone who's in the most risk category, well over 65, they need to get at least 3, 30 days apart. By the time we implement this, we're going to be well into the summer. I'm not saying that not to do it, but we have to look out for our own immunity. So I just don't ever want to forget about our own immunity. The second is we have no idea yet. This has never been done before. We are guinea pigs, good or bad, for this particular mRNA-based vaccine. We have no idea. We skipped animal trials. And again, I'm not a big fan of experimenting on animals, but I don't want to experiment on humans. We've never done this before. We've tried it before, and it has not been successful with other SARS-based viruses. So again, I'm not against it. I'm not necessarily for it. We have no idea. And anybody says that they have an idea they're not reading the science. So could it cause more malignant cells to replicate? Maybe. Maybe not. Again, we just have no idea. And anybody that tells you that they do for at least another 18 months to 24 months is not telling you the truth. So I just am committed to the truth, the unbiased truth. There are pros and cons to everything, and you need to see if those pros are what's best for you right now. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show. I appreciate you. I really do. If you could share this show with anyone you believe it could serve, that would be tremendous. And if you haven't left a review for the podcast on your favorite iTunes, Spotify, etc. media players, if you could leave one, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much. I'll talk with you tomorrow on our Motivation and Mindset Monday. Thanks so much for joining me here today on the Cabral Concept Podcast. Real pleasure to be able to speak with you on our daily show. What I want to do right now is share with you the listener-only and community-only offer that we have going on over at EqualLife right now. It is a timely offer for Valentine's Day where we are bundling our best-selling daily nutritional support shake in chocolate along with our advanced collagen support. The reason why that this is a great deal is because we are taking $40 off those 2 daily nutritional support shakes combined with the advanced collagen. So you are getting all 3 of those for $99, and that is going to save you $40 while supplies last this week only. 2 chocolate daily nutritional support combined with an advanced collagen support, 2 industry-leading products for just $99. Check it out while supplies last over at equa.life. That is EQUI.LIFE. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing rest of the day.